What would you say your views are on the direction of travel for the market in the next 12 months?
The agent's the only person that has the complete visibility up and down the chain. So for me, when I was in practice, the two most important parts for me were to be heavily involved and to control from the mortgage side. So we were appointed representatives. I wanted my own mortgage advisor involved in that process, firstly for clarity, to make sure that the buyer could actually do it in the first place, but equally for me to be able to be on top and drive it through. And secondly, I think from a conveyancing angle as well, we know there are pressures in that system at the moment. We all understand the reasons why there are pressures. And there's a little bit more to come, which you've got to factor in. I mean, probably we talked about the budget. Probably one of the little hidden details that many people missed was with regards to council tax and spending cuts that are going to hit local authorities. The areas that always get hit when that happens comes down to planning controls, planning applications, further delays on that side of things. But equally more important, things like local searches and things like that will be that further level of delay, which we're already seeing, 100 days in some cases to get those through. So you've got to line everything up successfully. Some areas you can control and some areas you can't. And what you've got to do is make sure you can control and do control the areas that you need to do. Financial referrals are some people look at it purely as an income driver. For me, that was always secondary. It's actually the control aspect. It reduces cancellations. If you know how to do it, if you work well with the advisors and you don't let them swan off onto other cases, but keep them focused on what you need to do, then actually, going into next year, if you're set up well and you've got your team correct, and you've got the control functions in place, actually next year's market would be very exciting. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there for the better agents to really come out and thrive.
In terms of consumer behaviour, how do you perceive, or what is your data telling you about how consumers are reacting to all of this?
An average agent cares about their town. That they care about their particular market. They don't necessarily care about what's happening on a macro piece, but I think that many agents are seeing this as an opportunity. That's the first thing. In terms of the sort of big data, if you like, about what we see. So we know from looking at our statistics that from a percentage of site visits to leads generated, which is when someone looks at the site and they say, I'm interested in viewing this property, there hasn't been a marked change at all between what's happened in the previous 2 quarters and now. In fact, in some cases, though, in particular metrics, those leads are up in terms of percentage of site traffic to leads generated. We know that fall throughs have increased a bit, but nowhere near the level that people were predicting in terms of, half of pipelines would be demolished overnight. We haven't seen evidence of that. Certainly our data doesn't show any of that. What we have seen is more instructions coming to the market, which Ben mentioned earlier, for sales. And now, although it was much slower, we're now seeing lettings instructions increasing as well. And with that increase in new instructions coming to the market, you would have thought that actually the sell-through rate, so the time it takes property to sell, would start to elongate as much more stock comes on. We're currently carrying the highest levels of stock since March 21, and yet our sell-through rate in October, which is the last data we have, was better than the previous month or the month before or the month before that. 60% of our properties were generating offers and going under offer within 30 days of marketing, and that's up on the previous month and the month before. So I think overall, from what we can see from the big data at the top of the funnel, if you like, from the macro piece, we're certainly still seeing those new instructions come to the market. We're seeing those new stock coming under offer. It's not hanging around as much as people think. There hasn't been this big flurry of fall throughs in the marketplace. And I believe, I echo Peter's views. I think, as an agent, I'd be personally, if I was back in it, rubbing my hands together, because this is where great agents come to the fore. This is where you have an opportunity to really demonstrate your expertise, your knowledge of the local market, your ability to negotiate. And as we all know, everyone who's watching this will know, an agent's ability is not just about listing it on a portal. An agent's ability comes when an offer is put forward, when an offer is agreed, but most importantly of all, that period from when an offer is agreed and through to exchange and completion is when the best agents come to the fore. And that's why, for all the reasons Ben mentioned and others, it's important to build that relationship with your financial services provider. It's important to build that relationship with your conveyancer. It's important to build, dare I say it, relationships with other agents to make sure that those chains are staying and remaining complete. And overall, when I look at the macro piece, I don't see any cause for concern. I think there is, in fact, big opportunity in the marketplace.